What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to
Yeah.
the AI podcast. We're your hosts, Mariah and Ty. Ty, happy Monday. How you doing? Good to see you. You there?
Oh, sorry. I'm there.
Oh,
Sorry. I had a weird
he's like,
audio
I'm
thing
out of here.
happening. I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Well, I'm hanging in there. We'll say that.
Hanging in there. I know.
Yeah. Chat, what's up? Happy Monday. Hope
What's up, my
everybody's
people?
doing great. Throwback, first in the door. Appreciate you as always, sir. Rob D, what up? Says, I heard two of the aces went off the other night. See what happens when Mariah and Ty podcast about you? That's right.
The show.
Appreciate it. Everybody that watches, that tunes in, that pulls through, that watches on replay, that's here, that's
Exactly.
not in the chat. What's up? We appreciate you all. Bebop, what up, Bebop Aroni?
What's going
Hope
on?
you're doing well. But yeah, it's been quite a week of basketball. A lot to talk about. Honestly, if I'm being honest, most of y'all know I was away in California this past 5 days or so. So I missed a lot of basketball. Last night, I came home when we got home from California, and I'm trying to watch the Aces and Mystics game to get caught up to get ready for the show, and I'm literally watching it like with one eye closed, and I keep like there's like 6 minutes left. Like I hit the 6 minute mark in the fourth quarter probably a good 10 times, and I would get to like this 6 minute and like 6 second mark, and Chelsea Gray every time she'd be there, I see her dribbling up, and then I'm like and I will wake up, and I feel like 10 minutes later, I wake up, and of course then the game's already over, and I'm watching it on League Pass, so there's no commercials and stuff, so it really goes fast,
Yeah.
So then I put it back to that 6 minute mark. There goes Chelsea dribbling it up, and then I'm like, man, it's gonna be. I'm never gonna find out what Chelsea does with the ball after dribbling up the court.
A never-ending basketball game because Mariah's falling asleep.
Yeah. So yeah, that was me trying to prepare for the show last night. But we made it. We're here. Yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Melly Mel, I
Melly
see
Mel's
you.
is in the house.
Melly, those Mystics, they're on a roll. Look, last week you weren't even here, and I had updated my sticky for you. Yep. Look, still right here. See, it went from Melly Mel's Mystics 2 wins to 2 more wins.
Yep.
Look, with 4 circled. Now you guys even got another win to add on to there. So yeah, we're definitely going to get into the Mystics and the Aces game, even though it took me a while to get through it. Great game. And like I was telling Ty, when I was in California and that game was on, like we're out. So I'm just like box score watching, and I keep like the first, and I'm like, what? This game is so close. Oh my gosh, what's going on? The second, super close, even coming out of the halftime, there's a second there where I'm like, okay, this is very, and I even thought, like, I'm like, we told Melly, well, we told you, Melly, but you weren't here last week. I don't know if you watched a replay, but we told you last week, like the Mystics have, 2 tough games on their schedule coming up. And obviously one being the Aces, but man, they gave us some work. So we'll definitely get into that in a little bit. I want to start off though. Let's start off with the Commissioner's Cup, because finally it happened. We've been talking about the lead up to it and everything. Last week's show, me and Ty, we gave our predictions, who we thought would win, who we thought would be MVP, all that good stuff. Just so you guys know, I'm very smart, All right. So the Lynx end up beating New York, like me and Ty said they would.
We predicted.
It was a crazy game. Like, I don't know if the two teams decide to we're just going to show up. Like, when the NBA does what is that game where, is it the All-Star? It might be the All-Star game where like always there's a player that goes off for like 80 freaking points. I remember Steph like went off for like some
All-Star
crazy,
games.
right? It's like nobody even tries to stop them. No defense
Nope.
is played. Like I felt like that's how these two teams like showed up. Like I'm like, are they gonna play defense? It was just like literally dribble, shoot, score. Back over here, screw, score. Score, 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 like back and forth, like no defense whatsoever. But you know, it was a good game. JJ, the Lynx shut down
Yeah.
JJ. Like she was non-existent in that game. Very like I'm surprised, you know, that they were able to shut her down that much. like completely took her completely out of the game. Your thoughts from the Commissioner's Cup?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. I thought both teams would come out and shoot well and do their thing. I think there were a bunch of defensive lapses early on, but I think like I could tell from the Mystic side, they were concerned about Jonquel Jones, who had just been going off
From the
up
Lynx
until
side.
yeah. From the Lynx side, they
You
were
said
concerned about
Mystics?
stopping JJ. Yeah, sorry. They're concerned about stopping JJ. Just thinking about Melly. It's all about you, Melly. No.
Yep. We're trying to get your team in the Commissioner's Cup already.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was a focus there. And you know, she had a bad game overall. You know, she had 3 points. That's it, which is not very Jonquel Jones like. Right? We talked about her before. Like she's a former league MVP. Like we know the offense she could put up. Heck, she torched the Aces for what 30 last time they played. So
And she's
we
been
know
on a
what she can
roll.
do. Yeah, and she's been rolling. So yeah, that was weird to see. But you saw how the Lynx just put on a total team effort. It was a good game, and they wound up pulling away at the end. So, you know, it was weird to have it just like on a random Tuesday, the only two teams playing. That's what you get when you have a tight schedule and you're trying to schedule this championship game in there. But I thought it was a good contest. And it was exciting to see like two of the top teams in the league overall, not just in the Commissioner Cup standings, go at it head to head.
I agree. Like even leading up to the game, before we even knew who was going to be in it, you know, remember we were talking about like we hoped that these were two of the teams, you know, that they would be, because we knew it was going to be such a good game. And yeah, it was. Collier got MVP. I know there was a lot of talk about, you know, that there was other players, I think, you know, people thought deserved to get MVP, but
like Bridget Carlton went off.
Yeah.
I mean, she did go off.
She did.
She had 23 points versus Nafisa's 21, but she did a bunch of other things. But like she was kind of that X factor out there. No one expected her, and that's the tricky thing about the Lynx. You never know. You know, Nafisa Collier is going to do her thing because she's, you know, an MVP candidate. But it's who's going to be that second person. And you figure it might be Kayla McBride or Alana Smith. But then out of nowhere comes Bridget Carlton. And she lights it up. And you're like, oh my gosh, we didn't see this coming. So that's the fun thing about WNBA. You just never know.
That's right. All right. So that's behind us now. Now the next thing coming up, you know, is the Olympics, obviously. Tomorrow we have the All-Star. They let us know who the All-Star roster is, the end of voting. So since they're announcing the All-Star roster, and this year it's a little different, right? Because they're having the Olympic team play against the All-Star team. So that's going to be the All-Star game. Now, I know it was very confusing leading up to this, like especially with the voting. I saw a lot of people online that were confused because they have it on there where you can still vote for the people that are in the Olympic team, but obviously those people can't make the All-Star team because they're on the Olympic team, right?
Right.
So then it's like, okay, so are we voting? Let's use Asia for example. So Asia's on the Olympic team. but
Yep.
obviously she's there to vote for all-star team. So it's like, are we then wasting a vote to then vote for
Exactly.
Asia, right? And when she's not even going to be on the team, like, do they get any benefits of this? Like, how's it going to work? So they have finally announced, when all voting comes to an end, they let us know, that the girls that are on the Olympic team, I'm trying to word this in my head right so I don't screw it up. So the girls that are on the Olympic team, they do get all the shine, they do get the
Hmm.
recognition, all that stuff, as if they did make the all-star team. So
Right.
say Asia, say she got the most votes in the all-star voting. Even though she's on the Olympic team, she still goes down as the player that got the most votes, the player,
Yep.
the all-star, you know, this, that. Now, then does it come that, okay, do they play it like as if she was sick and then now it's an all-star alternate that then makes the team behind her? That's what I don't
Yeah.
understand, that part. Do those people still get the credit as being making the all-star team, like first team, even
Yeah.
though in all
Exactly.
actuality they wouldn't have if, you know, like, so it's still a little confusing, but at least we know the people, they all get to shine somehow. And it should be a hell of a game, because if you think about it, you're taking the best of the best that's already
Right.
playing to support the USA in the Olympics, right? So you already know, like, they're hella good, and now you're taking the best of the best crop that's left over that didn't get on the Olympic team and putting those against each other. So it should be a hell of a game.
Hmm.
Um, Let me ask you this. Give me three, let's say three players that you would like to see make this all-star team, obviously not including the Olympic ladies.
Okay. I give you one. I'll give you three. Sorry. Taylor McBride, who I've been talking about all year long, has been shooting the lights out the ball. Even though she's been a little off recently, she's still a hell of a player. Has had a great year up to this point, and is deserving. So Taylor McBride from the Minnesota Lynx, throw her in there. Shout out to Melly's girl, Steph Dolson of the Washington Mystics.
I was cussing her ass out yesterday. Let me just tell you that. Well, actually, I was
she,
cussing the Aces out
you
for
know,
not being able to freaking guard her or
yeah,
anybody shooting the three.
she's been on a roll lately, but she's been quietly playing well all year long, and her outside shot has been outstanding. And there was one game I was watching where they were down and they needed like a three, and they were running plays for everybody. And I'm sitting there scratching my head, and I'm like, Steph has been the best 3-point shooter the entire game for the team. They should run a play for her to like tie this thing up. Why are they giving the ball to other people? Like, give it to her. It's weird. But I would definitely pull her out. I mean, have her in the
Mhm.
all-star game. I think it'd be great to see. Super fun. And the third person, oh, I just had it on top of my head. Lana Smith of the Lynx, who I briefly mentioned before, but she has had a wonderful year up until this point, and she doesn't get a lot of shine playing behind, Nafisha and what's the name that I just mentioned, but I would throw her in
Mhm.
as well. Kelly McBride, sorry. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, who ends up making the team, because there's going to be some tough, you know, there's some tough ones there. Like, I know when I
Yeah.
went to go do my voting, I would vote for all the aces, right? You know, because that's
Hmm.
just me. And then, you know, like, it leaves the leftover spots. So as I'm like trying to figure out, okay, who's the best of the best that's left over, you know,
Yeah.
like, they're like, I'm even there like going back and forth. Like, I would add the person and I'm like, no,
Uh-huh.
remove her, add her, you
Like,
know,
oh
and I'm
wait,
going back and
I
forth.
gotta
Like,
put this one in. Yeah.
yeah. So like, I was even having trouble, you know, vote, like, who am I going to vote for, you know? So I definitely could see that it's going to be tough competition, but I'm excited to see the game. The game is on July 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So for all those, you know, that are watching, that want to watch it,
Hmm.
mark it on your calendar, July 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern time, all-star team against Team USA. So that would be our first
Yeah.
time too seeing Team USA on the court together. getting a little practice in there before they go take care of business over there in
Hmm.
Paris. Um,
Yeah.
all right. Now we're going to talk about this girl a little bit more later when we talk about the Aces playing the Sky, but I do want to give her her own little segment here. Angel Reese. So she now has 10 consecutive double doubles,
Hmm.
the most ever for a rookie now. So she has that record. With that as well, so that was yesterday announced, with that, she won, well, how did they word it? Sportswoman of the Year
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
BET Awards last night. So she won that. And then also, those that are on, on the internet or know anything about Angel Reese, her fans, have now taken over the name as Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
Um, she put out a tweet saying something like, Reese's, where you at? Where
Hmm.
it shouldn't even had to take her to do that. Hershey should have already been reached out as soon as that name came out. Reese's Pieces, they should have been on the phone with Angel Reese's
You
people.
talk about a
Like, get
huge
us that
marketing
fucking deal,
opportunity,
right?
right?
Yeah. So she puts out a tweet and tags Reese's Pieces, like, hey, where you at? And they comment under her post saying, hey, we're here. We're just following our favorite WNBA
Hmm.
girl, So now it's being circulated that everybody thinks there's a deal in place there being worked on anyways, at least. But like I said, it should be. Um, it's already taken too long. So Hershey's, if you know what's good for you, get your ass on the freaking ball here.
Yeah.
Like I haven't, like, have we had? I don't think there's ever been Hershey's has been like teamed up with a sports person, especially because right, like chocolate. Normally, like
Yeah.
sports
Not an
people are out there
individual.
like, let's eat
Yeah.
chocolate, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
um, but so for her, still, like, that's a huge opportunity for both Hershey's, for Angel Reese, for the fans. Like,
Hmm.
such a big, like, a huge week for her, all in all, to win
Oh yeah.
Sportswoman of the Year over so many great athletes. Like, this isn't just WNBA athletes, this is
Yeah.
athlete, every sport that you can think of that women play could have been of her going against her.
Yep.
And, Asia, all these other WNBA players that have been in the league for all these years, and she comes in as a rookie and takes that. So, I thought that was pretty awesome. As you give us your thoughts on all that, I'm going to pull up some numbers from Angel that I have here as well.
Yeah. First of all, congrats to her. I mean, she's just been phenomenal, especially this month. The month of June, she
Yeah.
absolutely killed it. And if you think about her journey and things she's gone through this year, it's been hard, but throughout it all, she's been positive about it, and she's kept her head up, and she's helped shine a light on the women's game. And she has millions of fans too who
Mm-hmm.
love and adore her, right? And they're not just young, they're old too. We see celebrities pulling up to her games to see her play and to help her out. And we see current players talking to her, encouraging her, and
Mm-hmm.
she's approaching them, seeking their wisdom, and older players who are legends of the game speaking to her. Like she's doing a lot. So it's well deserving. And I'm happy to see her get some shine, get that recognition. Because she is definitely a good ambassador for the game, and just a good ambassador for women's sports overall. You talk about you want a person who is doing the right things. She exemplifies that.
Mm-hmm.
So super happy for her.
Yeah. Where is this? Because I had this thing saved and it had her like number one in this, number one in that, number
Oh
one in
yeah.
this. Like so many, like, did you see that thing going around? Like so many different
Yeah. So many
categories
different
she's number
categories.
one
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Um, and as I'm
And
looking
it's not
for it
just
though,
as her being a rookie. It's her just being as a player overall.
yeah. Yeah, it had
Yeah.
her like in the rookie, like against all rookies, and then her overall in the
Raw. Yeah.
WNBA. But as I'm still continue to look for it, thoughts on, is she the clear rookie of the year winner right now? Do you think through what 7 weeks of basketball? What do you think?
I think it's neck and neck. I don't think it's clear. I think I think, well, I'll put her in the lead because I think she just edges Caitlin Clark much, because Caitlin Clark has had some really bad games. I'm talking 3 points, 7 points, 9 points, just like where she was just erased, you know, and and that shouldn't be the case. But Angel has kind of been consistent throughout. It's been a little dips up and downs, but it's been consistent. And in this recent stretch, she's kind of taken it up a notch and been consistent up a notch. So I would definitely put her in the lead right now. But there's still so much season to go. And we saw Caitlin had a very good game yesterday. So that helps her out. But I would definitely put her in the lead. I know for the month of June, she is definitely rookie of the month for June. There should not be any debate over that one. I mean, has clearly played heads and tails above any rookie for this month. And I don't think anyone should be able to dispute that.
Yeah, let me show you guys this. So this wasn't the exact one I was talking about, but this has, some of the numbers. So June games are officially over. That being said, here's a look where Angel Reese ranks among rookies for the season. So second in points, first in rebounds, first in steals, first in double doubles, first in PER, first in win shares, first in offensive rating, first in defensive rating.
Yeah.
And then just to compare, these are Caitlin Clark's against rookies. So first in points, fourth in rebounds, first in assists, second in steals, second in double doubles, second in PR, third in win shares, fourth in offensive ratings, and then obviously defensive ratings. So that's the comparison.
Right.
So pretty much like where one's first, the other one's second. Like where one, like she has first here, like then Caitlin's in second, and all those. Where she has second, like Caitlin's first there. So
right,
like it's definitely those two there at the top. But yeah, I think
she's
like she's in such a good situation too. Like to be over there with Witherspoon as her coach, and just the vets that she ended up with on that team as well. Like the whole situation, like, has been great for her.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like to be with a legend in Teresa Witherspoon, and we kind of mentioned this before, is outstanding. You can't get much better than that for someone to help you out and teach you along the way. But also the staff that she's put together. I mean, Crystal Robinson was a great pro in this league. Ty Young played for many years, great pro in this league. And Ty Young is only about a year or two removed from being a player. Yeah. So she's still in touch with that kind of younger generation, right? So you got these strong women who have played, that knows what it takes, and can give her some guidance. So that's great. And plus she has a lot of young players and some vets that she can lean on. So it's really good. And it's funny to see her like second in points. They don't even like run their offense through her.
Right.
A lot of it she just gets from being aggressive, rebounding, getting putbacks, doing her thing. So it's funny when you see her have these games and she's scoring 16, 18, 20. You're like, wow, that's really great. And if you look at it, she's like doing it based on hustle and flow and everything else. So it's not like, a Caitlin Clark who always has the ball in her hands and they run the offense through her, right? And she's shooting threes. Like, Angel Reese ain't shooting no threes.
Mm-hmm.
She's down
Could you
there
imagine?
under the basket. Oh gosh. She's down under the basket, you know, banging away against the 6'5" centers of the league, getting her buckets that way. So it's just really a testament to the heart and hustle she has, and what she's able to do. And her shot is still kind of awkward. It's not polished, but god damn it, it goes in. That's what
Yeah,
counts. That's what counts.
it's definitely awkward. Even in her like pregame like shooting, like oh my gosh, or
Yeah,
when they
you see
post
her
clips of
warming
her
up.
like
Yeah.
shooting like with her coach, like the way her just shot is just so funny
Mhm.
looking. It's like you
Yeah.
see that ball come out of
Yeah.
her hand, and it's just like I think like without even seeing the basket, it's like there's no way this shot could possibly go in. Like how can you
Yep.
shoot a ball like that
Yep.
and have it go in? And she's not the only one. There's a few girls like there even and there's
Oh
a few
yeah.
guys in the WNBA too that have the
Yeah.
weirdest looking shots, and it's just like how does that even work to even like be able to get the ball up there? Like just like the
There,
funniest looking thing.
yeah. There are
Like with
people
that
out
being
there
said,
that shoot awkwardly and it just goes
yeah,
in. And it's like
yep.
whatever works, right?
And have you know how like when Nalissa Smith shoots and she puts her
Yeah.
knees all the way in and her feet are like
Yep.
pointed in. Like
Yeah.
she even shared
Yeah.
a picture of her last yesterday and retweeted and was like, like making fun of herself, like what the hell's up with this like shooting,
Hmm.
like how like because you don't know until you're seeing yourself do it. And it's just
Exactly.
like so funny.
Yeah.
Um, let's switch to the other rookie that we were just talking about as well, Caitlin Clark. And finally, the Caitlin Clark, Diana Taurasi matchup. We finally got it. For those that don't know, or for those that do, just a reminder, before the season even started, it was for during the playoffs and stuff for women's college basketball.
It was during the final four
Yep.
and
They were
the
asking,
championship game.
questioning Diana about, Caitlin Clark or whatnot. And, she had put out the remarks there that, like she's going to be a rookie. Like this isn't an easy league, and obviously these aren't her words word for word. Right. But,
Yeah.
that,
Hold on.
like there's going to be growing pains. Like she's going to have to come into the league and fight for her spot, just like everybody else has had to do, like it's not the same as college, just the same as is with any sports, right? Like there's a jump from college to professional sports. Like that's the way it is. A lot of people a lot of Caitlin Clark fans didn't like what Diana had to say because they were just expecting that, Caitlin Clark's this good that she's just going to walk into the WNBA and be a star. Like she's going to, like people were acting like Asia Wilson was nobody and Caitlin Clark was going to walk in and be as good as Asia Wilson, right? Like to have that much star power and be that skilled just walking into the league. And that doesn't happen, and like that's all Diana was trying to say. Now, could she have said it better than the way she did? Yes, she could have. She just sounded like an old, like grumpy ass, like, like these rookies ain't gonna come in and take my job type of thing, and she was right, but at the same time, things could be said a little bit better.
No,
So we
it was
finally
it
got
was
the
it was this
matchup.
quote. I got it.
Okay,
So
share
it
it.
was during the game, just real quick, and they were there. It was her and Sue Bird, and they were commenting on how Caitlin Clark has space to shoot, and they were saying in the W you don't get a lot of space. That doesn't happen all the time like this. So she's going to have to find different ways to shoot because that's going to be shut down. And then she said, "Reality is coming." That was the line that triggered everything. Reality is coming. So people went bonkers over that one. Like, how dare you say that about our GOAT, right? Reality is coming. How dare you? So that was it. That's what triggered everybody. And she was saying in the context that, the league is tough. You just can't shoot wide open
Mhm.
shots like that. It doesn't happen. And as we see in these games, it doesn't. But that was the line.
Right.
Reality is coming. Yeah.
Yeah. So before the game, I like this because
Yeah.
Diana hasn't said one word about shit since, right? Like it's been
No,
nothing. The media turned it into all this. The fans blew it all into
as the
this.
media does.
And
Yep.
the WNBA now ran with it, preparing up to this game. Like, oh, finally these two get to
Exactly.
meet the vet and the rookie, and this and that. And what's going to happen? So before the game even started, I love this. The show the sign of respect, mutual respect, and even Brittany Griner came and gave her a hug, said some words to her as well. So this was before the game.
Mm-hmm. This is opening tip
You
off.
see
See the crowd's
Diana go
going crazy.
up, shake, hug, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Griner comes in. You see her; she has some words for So
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool. Um, and this is coming off of Caitlin being asked this week something about. So you mentioned, and this is exactly what it brought to me when this conversation happened. You mentioned, Angel Reese, how after the game she'll go over to the opposite
To the
team
vets.
and
Yeah.
always has some words back and forth with the vets, getting some
Mm-hmm.
pointers. And Angel's even said that in the press conference. Yeah, like I'm asking them like what do you see? Do you have any pointers for me? Some tips, anything that could help me to get better, and something was asked to Caitlin this week about the vets or whatnot. And she said that vets don't help her, and that she wishes they did, and kind of chuckled, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what made me think of is the Angel Reese situation. But it's like, okay, Caitlin, are you going to the vets from the opposite team and having words with them?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get that? Are you seeking that information, or you're just expecting that they're going to walk over to you and be like, hey, new girl that supposed to be running the league, do you need my help?
Yeah. That's not the way it works.
No, it's not.
Like in any sport, like if you're a fan of sport, the veterans just don't go out and grab you. You have to show initiative, especially on
Especially
another
from the
team. If
opposite team.
exactly
Yeah.
on your own team, it's totally different. On your own team, a vet could be like, "Hey, roll with me. I'll show you how we get things done, get you acclimated quickly, and we'll get through this together." But from an opposing team, they're not just going to come to you and be like, "Hey, let me show you how to beat us." No, that's not the way it works.
Right.
You have to go to them, show some
Isn't it
respect, show
petty?
some humility, and ask.
Yeah. So also during the game, her and
Yeah,
Diana
that moment.
had this was the somebody shooting free throws at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're having a little, back and forth. So something else, and it's just a little 7-second clip, but I wanted to save this to show it because it's just like, it's made, and the media especially drives it to make it seem like all this hate is on
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin, right? And these vets are just out there trying to beat her ass all the time and throwing her on the floor and choking her out and body
Mm-hmm.
slamming her around.
And
And,
Diane Taurasi hates her.
yeah, like they acted like she was going to kill her during this game or something, like probably
Uh-huh.
have freaking police on standby, and like so not the case at all.
Yeah.
Like you
And
see
here they
him
are,
laughing,
joking and laughing.
right? Like that don't look like people that hate each other to me
Yeah.
whatsoever.
And it's sad that like that isn't shown. It's sad that Caitlin Clark, if you watch an Indiana Fever game, you will notice that she has her own camera. There is a camera that follows her around all game. Even if she's just walking off the court, going to the bench, there is a camera that will follow her. So all of these moments are captured by the broadcast. Like ESPN has this stuff, but they never show it.
Right.
And they don't want to because they want to keep that narrative going that everyone's against her. It's what's driving ratings. And it's so sad because yeah, the same way that they can be negative, they can be positive and still get the same ratings. It's so sad, but I'm glad like fans are capturing this stuff and sharing it because it needs to be seen because that's what's really happening in the league. Like no one's out to get her.
What's up, David Corona? Let me say what's up to a couple people that joins.
Yeah.
I know Don was here, snuck in and already snuck out. But what's up,
Yep.
Don? Appreciate you coming through. Maria, what's up, Maria? Hope you're doing well. Daniel Berry, what's good, Daniel? Make sure
What's
if
up?
y'all aren't subscribed to Daniel Berry yet, that you go do so. One little click of a button. We got Steve-O in the house. I
Yep.
love
What
how
up?
Steve-O, he's look at all these comments from Steve-O. He's so invested in the WNBA now.
It's good.
Love it.
Get involved.
Miss Debbie. Hey,
What
Miss
up?
Debbie. Kelly. What's up, Kelly? Good to
What's up?
see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you all had a great week. So Miss Debbie says, wait, I thought I saw someone helping her as they walked through the tunnel. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if
Yeah.
they were directly asking, the question was specifically asking her, like they just said vet. So they didn't make it seem like, and I listened to it a couple times to see if you could get it from, the person asking the question, whether they're talking about vets on her team specifically,
Hey, Kelly. Yeah.
or
I was doing the same thing.
opposing
Yeah.
vets, right?
Right.
And it's kind of sucks that you don't know, because the vets on your team should be helping you and talking to
Yeah.
you and all this. But, personally from the outside looking in, and, I'm no Fever fan, right? So I don't watch it, all the time. But from what I've seen, like, it seems like she has, like, there's more tension between her and the vets on her own team than her and the vets on other teams, So I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a very weird situation. The coach,
I know.
like I said last week, the coach is shit. She doesn't help anything. She doesn't help the play on the court. She's surely not helping the girls get along or helping them off the court. Like,
Yeah.
it's just that whole team's a fucking mess over there.
There was one time, I think Ms. Debbie is talking about. There was a clip earlier in the year where during halftime they were visibly upset. Caitlin was upset because they were like losing and walking off the court, and Aaliyah Boston grabbed her and was talking to her, trying to keep her encouraged and stuff as they walked through the tunnel. That did happen. Now, Aaliyah Boston is only in her second year, but she's still an older player that was helping her.
She's another one that should be having her vets there for her.
Yeah, she should have vets there for her too. And I know Kelsey Mitchell has talked about her communicating with Caitlin Clark, on the court and during practice and trying to build more chemistry. So there is something going on within the team. I just think that because the schedule is so tight and they had limited practices, that things weren't able to transpire the way they should amongst the team. So that goes with it. And we got to admit that, Caitlin Clark, she gets a little attitude-y out there. Like, if you look at her body language, she does a lot of.
That's something I've hated since she's been was in
like
college.
there is a lot of that happening, and that turns people off.
Yeah.
That turns people off. Even your own teammates, that could turn them off. So there's still a lot of adjustment that needs to take place amongst the Fever themselves.
Yeah. We talk about all the time, like, and this is why what the hell was I gonna say? Oh, this is why this person is so, like, obviously I've talked about what she does for the community off the court and all this, but Alicia Clark, like, that's why I think she's been such an amazing piece to this Aces team, because and she talks about this all the time, how much her vets meant to her and how much they played a huge role into who she is today on the basketball court, right? And so she's taken that experience and poured it into her rookies, as she calls them, right? And that's where Kate Martin is so lucky. And that there's a whole bunch of other rookies that are wishing, not just to be on the Aces, but just to be in the situation that Kate is, to have all these vets just she's the only rookie on the team, right? So
Yeah,
not only is she the only one for them to pour into, but they're all willing to do it.
exactly. Yeah,
Like you got
yeah,
Alicia Clark that's taking her under her wing and doing absolutely everything she can. But not just that, you have the star of the Aces that could be
the
doing
biggest one.
anything other, and yet she's there pouring into the rookie, and we're like so lucky. There's so many things that I constantly am always telling myself, like, man, like you're so lucky to be an Aces fan and just have this locker room, because
Mm-hmm.
not all the teams do.
Yeah,
Like as
yeah,
much as we talk about talent and this league is overflowing with talent, like talent only does so much. Like there's so much more goes
yeah,
into being a
yep,
teammate, being on a team,
yeah,
winning, being a championship team, like having all
yeah,
this other stuff, and
yeah.
it's all important.
Look at the Indiana Fever. If you look at the Fever's roster, they are not void of talent. I
Nope.
mean, you have two of the top four, well, top three all-time leading scorers in NCAA women's basketball history on the same roster.
Mm-hmm.
They can light it up. Aaliyah Boston is a national champion, right? Um, and Alyssa Smith was great at Baylor. She can play. You see her play when her game is on, she's
Mm-hmm.
on. Like that roster has talent, but it takes more than talent, right? It takes the chemistry, the getting it together, the understanding of one another. It has to be that way. Oh, Kelly in the chat says she mentions Temi Fegbani, that she seems to be there for Caitlin. I will say this
Mm-hmm.
about them two: they developed the chemistry early on. Like, one thing Temi will do well, she will run the court, and Caitlin has rewarded her plenty of times for doing so. So they definitely have chemistry with those two. But that's another player with tons of talent on the team. They just have to put it all together. But once they do, you can see glimpses of it. Once they do, they're going to be very dangerous in the future, for sure.
Yeah. Steve-O, yeah. So Clark leads the league in turnovers, not just in
Mm-hmm.
rookies, like leads the league in turnovers. And so her fans' biggest argument is that she will,
Yeah.
not all of them, but she will throw, her teammates great passes and her teammates can't catch the ball worth shit. So I've actually went back and specifically looked for this because I was wondering, like I said, I don't watch all
Yeah.
the Fever games, so like I didn't know, like, was this the case? Like her teammates just don't know how to catch the ball? Is she like chucking the ball like across
Mm-hmm.
what's the situation, right? And there are definitely times when her teammates could have easily caught the
For
pass,
sure.
or she makes a beautiful pass and her
Dime.
teammates are just like, like
Mm-hmm.
freaking staring off into space, or who the hell knows, right? But there's also times where it's just like, why would you even try to pass the ball in that situation? Or like
Exactly.
she's throwing the basketball like it's a fucking baseball and she's a pitcher, like for the Dodgers or something, like.
Yeah.
So it definitely plays in both ways, but regardless,
Yeah.
you should not be leading the league in turnovers. I don't care, as a rookie, as
Well,
whatever, as the leading point guard for your team, you
yeah.
should
You
not
never
be
want your
leading the
point
league in
guard
turnovers.
leading the league in turnovers. That is a bad sign. And it's like you said, it goes 50-50, right? It's a lot of her teammates' faults, but it's blame on her as well. So it goes 50-50. And it's just that whole thing of getting acclimated to the league herself, learning when to throw these passes, how to throw them, etc. And we just talked about it a moment ago, them gelling together.
Right.
All right, I know if I'm at this spot, Caitlin's going to hit me with a fastball or a bounce pass is coming, things like that. Like, some of these players have never played with a very good passer, right? A very good point guard that can slip them the ball in certain situations. So they have to get used to that. So it goes both ways. And like I said, once they have time to practice and get some chemistry together and get some flow, that'll come down and they'll be fine. But yeah, Steve-O, the narrative that it's all the teammates' faults, that's false. It goes 50-50.
Yeah. So real quick before we move on from this, I just found this was interesting, and it has something to completely do with something completely different, right? But, for those that don't know, that aren't 49ers fans or football fans, Ian Williams, he used to play for the 49ers, and he put out a tweet today saying, played probably 15 snaps my 2 years, got an extension going into year 3. Justin Smith, which was a teammate of his, said, Ian, go put some of that signing bonus in the market and forget about it. He said, years later, I'm vibing in the Dominican Republic, checking the portfolio, and I can't help but think back to being so blessed to have some great veterans around me. Life-changing advice. So like I said, a completely different sport, something that has to not do anything with the sport that they are playing, right? But Ian had vets around him on the team that, probably gave him all kinds of advice. If somebody's giving advice on this, where to put your money, think, that's not the only advice he got. So they're giving him advice on, something that set him up and changed his life in the future. He hasn't played football in years and years and years. Yep. And yet here he is and puts out a tweet, talking about his vets from his 3rd year in freaking football way back in the day and how that vet changed his life. And, that's what I'm talking about when I say the importance of the rookies having vets. And it don't even have to be about basketball. So many different things. How to be a professional, how to take care of your body, what to do with your money, these are young people coming into so much money, and it's like, well, what do I do? Like they teach us all this shit in school that we don't use ever in our lives.
Right.
They don't teach us how to balance a checkbook back in the day. They don't teach us how to do stocks and bonds and all this kind of stuff, where to invest or none of that. Right. So to have those people in your life and, some of these people, they don't have dads, they don't have a mom, they don't have parents or their parents don't know either, so it's important to have people, and it's like these vets, either they didn't have when they were rookies or when they were young coming into the league, they didn't have that vet for them. So they don't know, or there's some other shit going on with them and they just don't want to pour into their rookies the same way they were poured into, whatever the reason is. But I'll say it again. I know, and I can only speak for what I see on the Aces. And I know that we are so lucky to have the vets in place to pour into the rookies, the young players, the new players, anybody that comes into that locker room. We're going to talk about somebody that just got waived, but I know whether they're there for 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, a year, they're getting treated right in that locker room from the players around them.
Pull up Kelly's comment right above Steve-O's because it's relevant. Yeah.
She says, you can see it on all the Aces vets' faces, how they want Kate to do well.
Exactly. Like, and no matter what they're doing on the court or off the court, they're rooting for Kate Martin. Like, they're cheering hard.
Yep.
Pulling for Kate Martin. That's not normal, right? That's not regular when 1 through 11 is a 12-man roster. 1 through 11 is rooting for this rookie like she's their natural born sister, like all of them. And you mentioned it earlier. It starts at the top. The best player on the team, the best player in the league is leading the way.
Yep.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. What's up, John V? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir. Real quick. So Steve-O, you asked about Griner. Are you meaning re-entering like from her injury at the beginning of the season or re-entering from Russia?
They're both the same.
What re-entering are we talking about? If it's from injury, because she missed, I don't know, the first couple 2-3 weeks of the season, she's come back and is playing great.
Yeah,
I definitely voted for her, as she's on the Olympic team, so it don't matter any
team. Yeah,
she did get an all-star votes from me because she's been playing that great of basketball. And I even put this out, and talked about this to you guys when the Aces played them. But it's just like, and it's funny because I was even talking to my wife. Did you see that going around about when Team China and Team Japan played, and Team China has like this girl on there that's
7'5", yeah.
So I was talking to my wife about her, like, and we were watching the like clips from the game that they had played. Mm-hmm. And she's literally just up there, right? Just throwing the ball to herself, like catching the ball. Yep. She's doing everything. She's like this much taller than everybody else out there. And so I'm telling my wife, like, that's how I feel when we play Griner, because she's just so much taller than everybody else. It's like, how do you even stop her? And I literally have put out a tweet, like, it's unfair to play Griner because how do you stop her? She's a foot taller than everybody else out there, And it's just like, you could just stand at the basket and just be like, woo. Like when you do like keep away from the little kids and you just hold their candy up in the air and they can't even reach it, like that's Brittany Griner with the basketball. And her and Diana, like that team's just they gel, they play so well together. But yeah, she's been playing great basketball.
Yeah, she's been doing very well lately. She's been averaging like 20. Like she's been playing well. And like you said, once she gets on a roll, you can't stop her. She's 6'9" inches tall. With a 7'9" wingspan, like her arms is another foot. Mm-hmm. So when she does her little like jump shot type move that she makes, you can't block it because it's too high. No one's blocking that. So yeah, she's a force.
All right, so let's take a look at the WNBA standings, go over a couple of the games, obviously talk about the Aces games. So the Aces, man, I remember just a few games ago, it was looking scary. We were about to be like 5-5, or like it was not good. But Chelsea Gray, yeah, that was it. Chelsea Gray, back for 4 games now, officially started 2 of them, and the Aces have won all 4. I mean, is it a coincidence, or I don't think so. The standings in the WNBA right now, Liberty is still holding number 1 spot down, 16-3. Mm-hmm. The Sun 14-4, second place. You got the Lynx third place, 14-4. 4th place, Seattle Storm, 12-6. 5th place, Las Vegas Aces, 10-6. 6th place, Mercury, 9-9. 7th place, you got the Dream, 7-10. 8th, you got Fever, 8-12. 9, Chicago Sky are 6-11. 10th are the Wings, 4-14. 11th are the LA Sparks at 4-14. And 12th are Melly Mel's Mystics, 4-15. I thought they won another game this past week.
No.
Oh, so they do.
Remember they won 4 out of 5. Yeah, they won 2 in a row, lost 1, then won 2 in a row again. Then they dropped the last 2 they played. Played 2 very tough games, but lost. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Aces this week played Chicago Sky and the Mystics. Mm-hmm. So the first game against the Chicago Sky. To start off, I want to bring up the fact that this has never been done before. Before the game, the coaches normally have their pregame press conference, whatnot. Mm-hmm. The coach for the Las Vegas Aces, Becky, and the coach for Chicago Sky, Teresa Witherspoon, they're like best friends, right? They played together. They have a long history together. So the first time in WNBA history, these two came together and did their pregame press conference together. It was so awesome. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to have like just to have them there, like you could just like seriously like feel the love coming off
Yep.
of them, like I loved it. And to have them like, normally coaches, they just give their coach speak, talking about the other players or the other teams. But like they were like really like you could tell they watch the other they watch the other one's team, like they
Yeah.
stay up to date on what the other one's doing. And to get answers from a coach about, to hear what Weatherspoon had to say about the Aces and the Aces players, and to know is somebody that actually gave a shit and actually
Yep.
knew what they were talking about and watched the games and watched the players. And it just wasn't coach speak, like you could tell like
Yeah.
that these coaches were invested in each other, and I thought that was pretty awesome. So to have it already start the game off like that, it was hella cool. And then the game itself, let me remember. Oh yeah, Asia, obviously Asia and Angel. I love them too being out there together. And you could see like through the whole game too. And like they were showing each other respect. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
they were having little side combos, like loved it. Um so yeah, the Aces won obviously. And it's just so nice like to see just the game. And they're not playing perfect basketball by any means, right? But so much night and day difference than how they were
Yep.
playing prior to Chelsea coming back and how they're playing now. Like for her to make such a huge difference on the offensive end and defensive end is just, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy how one player, and it's like people kept asking me before Chelsea came back, in spaces and DMs, whatever, like what's up with the Aces? As soon as the
Yeah.
Aces went on that lose, what's up with the Aces? Oh my God, what's up with
Yep.
the Aces? And they would all be like, I know Chelsea Gray's out, but could it really be that much of a big thing? Like, yeah, it is.
Yes.
Like, like when you have the point go that literally can run that entire, and she has the freedom to do so, run that
Mm-hmm.
entire game plan, everything. And Becky even talked about this in her presser this week that Chelsea can see what's
Yep.
going on and change the play, knowing, okay, if I change this, they're going to do this and this is going to happen. And this is the
Yep.
perfect time for me to do it. And she does it. So
Mm-hmm.
Becky pretty much just sends Chelsea out
Yeah.
there, and Chelsea coaches, changes plays, calls the plays, runs the entire thing. So yes, having Chelsea out makes that big of a fucking difference.
Yep.
Like, hello. So yeah, give me your thoughts on the Aces Chicago Sky game.
Well, first
Let
of
me
all,
pull up this too.
since you were talking about Chelsea great, well, since you got the highlights up, it was a great game. Let's mute this real quick. Good game. See these a veteran team and a young team go at it. It was fun to watch, especially the battle down low. First of all, Asia Wilson is Asia Wilson. She gave those two rookies the business, as she should. As she should. They look at that play right there. They couldn't do nothing with her. That was on Angel Reese and Carmela Cardoza, both of them at the same time. They couldn't handle Angel Reese. So that was fun to watch. But it was a good, clean basketball game. Marina Mabry had a good game. She finally had a good game for the Sky. Like we were waiting for her to show up. It's funny how she shows up against the Aces. What's that about?
She only plays bad against the Fever. That's it.
You know what I mean? She was shooting bricks up until this point, but now she comes out, she's hitting her threes and everything. Like she had a 20-point game. Good for her. Kennedy Carter had a good game, but it was just too much Asia Wilson at the end. In the end, well, not just her. I got to give it up. It was really for the big three: Asia, Jackie, and Kelsey Plum. They all played very well. The Sky had nothing for them, and this is due to Chelsea Gray being on the court. When Chelsea Gray is out there, everyone is free to play their natural positions and get into the offensive flow, and she could just orchestrate things. That's her. Oh, look at her abusing Angel Reese. Yeah. So Kia Stokes with a big block there, but that's the value Chelsea Gray brings, right? Like you said, she can change the play. She can see things happening before they happen. She sees how if the defense is trying to trap Asia, they're trying to double her on the block. You know what? I'm a fake look at her, but kick it over to Jackie, who's
Mm-hmm.
singled up one on one, or you know what? I'm a fake drive and kick it out to Kelsey for a three. She does these things, and it's not just on the offensive end. She sees it on the defensive end too. She sees what the other team is trying to run, and she'll yell out defensive calls and get people lined up. So that's another value right there. I think Kia Stokes had like 5 or 6 blocks this game too. I mean, she was out of her mind. And Carmilla Cardoza's what, 6'9", 6'8",
Yeah.
6'9". She's not a small girl. But Kia was down there battling with her and Angel and all the other bigs she brought in that the Chicago Sky have. So I thought Kia played a great game defensively, and it's all around great defensive game for the Aces. And what Becky always says, that we know the offense is going to take care of itself, but if
Yep.
we start stopping people defensively, we ain't losing many games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they've been doing lately. And you've been seeing it. If you look at them play, it's a lot more hands up. They're a lot more active in getting in the passing lanes and it's disrupting things, something they didn't do earlier in the season. So, yeah, this was a good big win statement game against a young and hungry team that is fighting. So it was good to see.
Yeah, both teams were coming off 2 wins, so one of
Mm-hmm.
those win streaks were going to be broken, and luckily
Mm-hmm.
it was the Skies. Asia scored 31 points. That took her consecutive 20-point plus regular season games up to 20. Unfortunately, that's where it ended because she did not score more than 20 points against the Mystics, but she now holds that record for 20-point most consecutive
Consecutive
20-point
20-point game.
regular
Yeah.
season games. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. I do want to pull up this clip. This was Asia talking after the Sky game, and she was asked about, a few games back when she became emotional during the presser, and she
Mm-hmm.
goes on to talk
I saw
about,
this. Yeah.
getting on Jackie during halftime. So I wanted to play this clip. Let me share this real quick. And this just, goes on to just show, the type of leader that Asia is and continues to be. Let me share it here. All right. Add it up here. Make sure you guys will be able to hear it. All right.
A lot's happened in the last 2 weeks with Chelsea coming back, but you had a real passionate, moment. We talked so much about wanting to motivate your teammates and getting the best whole team. I wonder, like, that was something that seemed like really resonated with your teammates. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that moment. You guys have won this time. Jackie, have any thoughts about that?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, that was a very vulnerable moment for me, but at the same time, it was a moment that I feel like my teammates needed to hear. I don't have an opportunity to really tell them that one-on-one. So obviously as a collective, because we're all going our own ways, it's game after game after game. You don't really have time to really share how much you love and care for a person. And that's what I needed to let my teammates know. And it just happened to come after a loss against New York. But I could have said it at any time, but that time was just the best for me. So, and I'm going to continue to be that way. I'm going to continue to want the best out of them. I mean, today I had to kind of wake Jackie up a little bit because that's what I do. And when I see that in my teammates and I see them not playing to their potential, I think Jackie will be the first person to let you know. I'm going to let you know about it. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. It was a big moment for not only myself, but for my team moving forward. Is sometimes you're going to let people know they're loved so they can love on themselves a little bit more. And so that's one of my roles here, and I don't take that for granted at all.
Jackie, just if you have any thoughts on that. Just the way Asia, she leads in a lot of ways, but I think sometimes the things she says really do mean a lot to her teammates.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's the leader of this team, and whenever she has something to say, you listen. And so, we know that she's going to speak up sometimes whenever she feels like it's necessary. Today, I think it was first quarter maybe. Yeah. We had a little talk. It was good. It was all good. We've been together a long time, and so what she said really stuck with me. I was able to just flip that switch, just move on. So I think just being able to have someone like this on our team in the locker room that is one of the best in the world, but also cares about each one of her teammates, is something that she doesn't get enough credit for. She has the weight of the world on her shoulders, but she's always being a great teammate, taking care of us.
Thank you.
So yeah, the best in the world. But not only that, she has the weight of the world on her shoulders and still continues to be a great teammate and love on her teammates. And you see the results.
Yeah. And it's funny. This is Asia Wilson's 6th year in the league. This is Jackie Young's 5th year in the league. They're only separated by 1 year. But to see their dynamic, you would think this is Asia Wilson's 16th year in the league and Jackie's 3rd year, the way she leads her and the way she's there for her. And that just shows you the type of person that Asia Wilson is. And that shows you how Jackie Young responds to her. And this isn't the first time that they've had chats on the court and stuff. There was that memorable moment in 2022 when Asia Wilson was mic'd up, and gosh darn it, they should mic up Asia Wilson more often. When she was walking with Jackie Young and she's like, shoot it. What's the worst that could happen? Just take the shot. I mean, you get paid to shoot. We get paid to shoot. Take that. That was gold. And that was in the moment, in the game, where she's encouraging her to shoot the ball. No, don't pass it to me. Shoot it. You can shoot the darn ball. That's what we get paid to do. It doesn't get better than that. So, you got to love Asia and mic her up more often because we need more moments.
Yeah, I agree. And Jackie was her that first quarter, I don't know what was going on with her, but you saw her come alive, and especially she had a great second half, so I mean, if that's the results of Asia having to get on her ass, then we know that Becky does that to Asia, right? Or whoever needs it at halftime. Becky's one, she's gonna be back there screaming and cussing them girls out, and
starts at the top.
The Aces come out and always play great basketball. So Andre, I don't know if you're coming in trying to throw this out there we haven't gave Angel credit, but we definitely spent 30 minutes of the show already giving Angel the credit she deserves. So just because we're talking about the Aces in Asia right now doesn't mean that Angel hasn't already gotten her credit. And
I think he's just showing up late, but we did start off the show earlier on talking about it. We made sure to give her flowers. And she has, she's very deserving of it. And overall, for the month of June, we said she had a phenomenal month. And right now, she'd be leading in Rookie of the Year voting. Kudos to Angel Reese, for sure.
Yep. All right. So the Aces and the Mystics. Aces beat the Mystics 88-77. But like I mentioned earlier, this game was a tough back and forth game, and it wasn't really until the second half that the Aces, and speaking of Becky cussing them out, Becky said she had to go in at halftime and cuss them out and say, where the hell is your defense at? What's going on? And the Aces came out and they held the Mystics to 8 points in the fourth quarter.
Amazing. Yeah.
I think 25 points or something for the half they held them to in the second half. So yeah, they came out, played great defense. Let me look at my notes. So you got here. Oh, like I had mentioned already, this is where Asia's 20-point games came to an end. You can tell the Mystics came into this game with a plan to shut down Asia and Kelsey Plum. But the good thing about the Aces, and when you have this many able scorers on the team, you shut down obviously the GOAT in Asia, you shut down Kelsey Plum, but guess what? You have a Jackie Young, you have a Chelsea Gray, you have other ladies that can come out and score. And so, yeah, they held Asia to her worst game of the season. And you had Jackie step up and win the game for us, basically, and I don't think Jackie doesn't get enough credit. Like, that girl is so fucking tough. Like, even after this game, they wanted her to stay and answer, or the Chicago game might have been.
The Chicago game, yeah.
Yeah, Asia had to go, and they said, well, Jackie, you can stay and answer a couple more questions. She's like, I gotta go lift. I loved it. Like, what? And really the Aces posted a picture, and yeah, she's there working out.
She was lifting.
She just played
in her uniform, still in her shorts.
And you look at her, and she's fucking built, right? Like, she's so she's just man. And then you could tell when she's down there and she gives those girls a little freaking shoulder, they're fucking flying across the court. It looks like she barely even just barely a little damn shoulder, and they're I would love to ask some of those girls how that shoulder from Jackie Young feels, because man, she looks so little, height wise, right? She just looks like this little this little girl out there. She's tall, to be playing, right? But compared to everybody else, she looks so tiny, and then she's just buff as could be. She's just a freaking wrecking ball out there. And so yeah, Asia, she couldn't get shit going. There were a bunch of, I won't say a bunch, but at least a handful of plays where she could have definitely got a foul called.
Yeah.
And didn't. But it happens to the best of them. Your thoughts on the Mystics win?
Yeah, it was weird because it's kind of like the Chicago game where they came out sluggish. Something was off, and the Mystics jumped on them. The same thing happened in the Sky game. The Sky came out, jumped on them early, and kind of continued through the second quarter. So at halftime, they had to do something. I don't know what Becky said, but I'm sure she lit the fire. And the second half was a different story. They looked way better. And thank goodness. But it was a great game. We talked about how this Mystics team, they can put it together. And if they were healthy, this would have been something different. But it came down to just making shots, and their defense in the fourth quarter was just nuts. It was insane. To hold the team to only 8 points in the quarter. I don't care where you play ball, out in the street, the WNBA, the G League. That's a great defensive quarter. And the big time players stepped up. Now, it's funny. This is what makes the Aces really dangerous. We all know their top four: Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, and Chelsea Gray. And a lot of people don't look at Chelsea Gray as a scorer, but Chelsea Gray can score. She can light it up. She can get you 20 plus points a night. I go to games. I've seen her personally hit 30. She can light it up. And this was a game where, things weren't going right. She took matters into her own hands and was looking for her shot, and it was falling. And the difference between her first game, where her shots were coming up short, and this game where she was hitting her shots, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful to see. And in the Chicago game, the top three scorers were Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. In this game, it was Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, and Tiffany Harris.
Mhm.
So now this is where the aces are dangerous, because normally you had like 4 players and you're like, okay, we got to worry about 3 of the 4. What are we going to do? Well, the Tiffany Harris signing
Hayes.
is Tiffany Hayes. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying Harris. Tiffany Hayes signing is important because her and Chelsea Gray were teammates overseas. Like, a lot of people don't know that, but they played overseas. They have chemistry together. So you see, Chelsea's now on the court, and all of a sudden, Tiffany Hayes can score again. She's like,
Mhm.
because they know each other. So that's another reason why Chelsea coming back is important. So now you got like 5 scores that you got to worry about, and then you get an AC off the bench
Mhm.
and a Kate Martin and a Megan Gustafson. If her shot starts falling, the team could put up 90 points every night. And it's like, which big 3 is going to score to
Right.
like catapult them to that 90? It's super scary. But great game by them. They fought hard and won it in the clutch. This was kind of a championship basketball game to me, because it wasn't easy and it was on the road, across the country, and they had to fight for it. And you saw that they fought for 4 quarters and got the job done.
Yeah. I think this is Tiffany's best game so far with the aces. And, Becky was asked about, Tiffany and this game. And she said that, that she, like, remember, she wasn't with this team, to start the season. So she's joined and had to learn on the fly, joined a team without their starting point guard, with other players filling in roles that they weren't comfortable with to begin with. And so, it was kind of a cluster when she joined, and then she's thrown into a starting role and, all this. So, she's just been trying to play catch up this whole time, trying to learn the aces scheme, all that. And, Becky said, it's finally starting to come together. Obviously, Chelsea's back, which puts everybody else into their right roles. And Tiffany back to coming off the bench. And she's, Becky said she's figuring out how we play defense. And once you figure that out, the offense comes. We talk about it every single show. The aces, it's ran through the defense. You play great defense, the offense is going to be there. So, Tiff's finally,
Chelsea,
figuring out what the hell she is doing, and of course it's going to take some time, right? So yeah, it was her best game. This is Chelsea's 4th game back, the best game back now that she's had as well. And, she was asked about it and she said, yeah, obviously she was working out, she's doing this, but you're not in game shape, just like with any sports, right? So, she had to get a couple games back under her belt, get in game shape and, get back. Like, there's new players on the team that she's never played with before, so she's as well getting thrown into the mix, in the middle, partway through the season. So yeah, I think, everybody's starting to, like I said earlier, like, it's starting to look like aces basketball. And, we talked about this last week, not saying, oh, the aces from last year, because it's a completely different team, so, but this is looking like the aces basketball that we expect to see. And, hopefully it continues in that right direction. Andre said Asia is Angel's mentor. And yeah, like, we heard, Asia talk about Angel and Angel vice versa, and both had great things to say about each other. And, like, shout out to Angel, because what better of a mentor and somebody to look up to. And this is something, we just spent all this time talking about the leader that Asia is, and how important not only her play on the court, but what she means to the locker room, right? And the part that she plays in the lives and the role in all these other women's lives. And we talked about last week how Angel is a rookie, yet she's had to go into that team and become the leader. Like, she's the leader of that team as a rookie. And that shows how great she is, right? To be able to take on that role, to be able to take a lot, most 90% of the not even just the women, people in sports, period, aren't ready to go into a team in professional sports and lead the team as a rookie. Like that's a lot to take on and shoulder as a rookie. And Angel's done amazing of that. So yeah, what better person to learn even that part from than Asia. So I would love to see their relationship, continue to grow. And Asia kind of, even though obviously she's on a different team, but kind of take her, under her wing and, show her the ropes.
But I mean, we mentioned this a little bit earlier. Like Angel Reese is that rookie that is seeking wisdom from these veterans.
Yep.
So I can easily see Angel Reese like calling up Asia Wilson and saying, "Hey, can I work out with you this off season? Can you like help me with some moves, or who can I speak to like work on some moves, whatever?" And get that advice from her. And we know Asia will be like, yeah, come on. Come on down. Let's do it. Or, oh, this coach, work with him and he'll get you right, or whatever. Like it'll happen. So I'm sure you saw them after the game high-fiving each other and hugging and speaking. They have a relationship off the court already. So I'm sure that will continue to grow and foster. And this will be a battle that we'll be looking forward to for years to come. And I'm sure Angel Reese is going to want some get back because she was taken to school. Asia Wilson. I even tweeted that. I was like, school is in session and Asia Wilson is putting on a master class because she gave Angel and Camilla the work. Oh man.
Too, with this game, once this game got over, you saw Aaliyah Edwards and Asia come together, show the mutual respect. Like I you guys know I'll talk about Asia all day long. You can't say enough great things about her, but it's just the little things like that I'm so grateful to have her leading this team.
Yeah. And once again, that whole narrative of like the WNBA, the vets are jealous of this rookie class because all the attention that they get. Where? Where?
Yeah.
It is not true.
Yep. All right. Let's do a giveaway.
Let's get them hashtags ready.
We got this Chelsea Gray.
Get
with
ready,
a big
people.
glare on it. But yeah, you see her. You see her there in the all white. Let's do hashtag WNBA to get into the giveaway. Hashtag WNBA to get into the Chelsea Gray giveaway. All right. Jessica Carter. Barely just signed to the Aces. We just talked about it a couple shows ago. Was waived the other day. She retweeted the tweet from the Aces that said, "Thank you, Jessica," and said that, she's super grateful for the opportunity. And, that's the kind of thing that I was saying earlier is that no matter, like obviously the fans, they're all pissed off, right? Like, why is this person still on the team and you're cutting this person and yada, yada, yada. Every time somebody gets waived or whatnot, the same, always the comment section looks exactly the same.
Yep.
And yeah, like me too. I'm wondering like, what the hell's going on? Like, why do we keep signing this person, waiving them, signing, waving, signing, waving? It's like the Aces are trying to find their last little missing gem, or like, I didn't see nothing like bad from Jessica since she's been on the team that would have made me think, okay, the Aces are about to cut her, or they're going to waive her or whatnot. Like she's not getting it, or like other times, like with Fair, we saw her come into the game and look totally completely lost in the only minutes she got, and the next day
one game, yeah,
like
this was kind of the same thing, yeah.
And now this is just like, okay, like now what? So is news coming that the Aces are about to sign somebody else? Do they roll the rest of the season one lady short? Do they have another trick up their sleeve? Do they got the lucky joker in their pocket? What's going on here? What do you think about Jessica Carter getting waived?
Yeah, it's kind of a head scratcher. And we talked about this when she got signed. Like the Aces need another big, somebody who can go down low and bang with the big girls, get some rebounds, block some shots, be an enforcer. And she fits the mold at 6'5". She was a great shot blocker in college, good rebounder, averaged a double-double. Like I thought she'd be the perfect fit over time to help spell Kia and Asia when they get off the court. Because like right now, that person is Alicia Clark. And it didn't dawn on me on how short Alicia Clark was until after the Mystics game. She's there with all the UConn girls that were there. And she's standing next to Paige Beckers, and she's shorter than Paige Beckers. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait a minute. How tall is Alicia Clark? And I looked it up and I see she's only 5'11", which I swore she was like 6'1". I don't know why, but she's only 5'11". And I was like, wait a minute, that's guard height. Like that's guard height. And they have her, guarding centers and big forwards. And I'm like, that is not sustainable. So they need more height out there. So that's why, this, when they waived Jessica Carter, I was like, that was a head scratcher. So I thought at least her height is a value. Her size is a value. She's needed. And, God forbid, knock on wood, something happens to Kia or Asia, you're going to need that person out there. But I got to trust the front office. I mean, they know what they're doing. I'm sure they have her number on speed dial in case, but who knows? They could be announcing someone else, that's being signed. A lot of women are finishing up their European tournaments and stuff. So it could be another veteran out there who's becoming available at this point to join the team. So we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely interested to see what happens, because last season the Aces, they carried one girl short. So
yeah,
I mean, it's not,
they're used to it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be unusual for them to just finish out the rest of the season like this. But like you said, we definitely need some height. Like I feel like, I'm a Warriors fan, and I feel like the same situation. Like it's still same thing. It's free agency in the Warriors, and they still can't get a freaking big man to save their lives. Like I don't like they're scared of guys over 6'5", or like I don't know what the deal is.
Like how long are you gonna have Draymond guarding centers, right? Like,
right.
Like come on, man.
And
get a 7-footer already.
Yeah. It's like, can we get a Brittany Griner? Can you guys like get her over here or something? That's really all I have. The only thing else that I had was there's some people walking down the street looking at me. Was the whole
mind your
Melissa
business.
Smith and Dejanay Carrington appear to be back together. The last few weeks, one another has been at the other one's games. For those who don't know, they were in a relationship. They broke up. Dejanay has been showing up to the games, looking like the best dressed. She looks like like you would do if you were trying to win back your ex or make your ex jealous, like she's coming in as the fanciest one in the town, and it definitely worked. But they recently posted a video to where that they were together, they're singing a song and doing all this together. So with that, we know that there's other relationships as well couple on the same team, even with Bonner and Thomas. This, well, I guess women's soccer, they have to, but like men's sports, you don't really have to worry about, or I mean, maybe they do it and we just don't hear about it because it's not as open and free, What are your thoughts? Do you think like it makes, let me see how I'm going to word this question, because, like dating in normal workplace settings, dating in the workplace is usually frowned upon, right? Even here in Las Vegas in the casinos, like most of the time they don't want you dating somebody else that works in the casino. Even if it's a different department, like slots and security or whatever, because something could happen, yada yada, whatever. Do you think, like, what do you think that this does it make the WNBA more interesting? Do you think like it's crazy because all this shit could be happening because they can be dating? Like, how do you think that this all falls in the line here?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been a fan from the beginning. So for me, this is normal.
Because why I ask is because you've seen issues arise, like on the Fever, for example, when the Fever was playing Carrington's team.
Oh, when they played the Sun,
issue happened between the Fever and them. It's like you saw Smith, instead of coming to her own teammates, support and having her own teammates back, she going to the support of the opposite team because her girl plays over there. So it's like she's like stepping up and going against her own teammate because she's coming to the rescue of her girl on the opposite team.
Well, yeah. That's like, you take care of home first, right? And she didn't do anything crazy. It was between Erica Wheeler, Dejanay Carrington. Erica Wheeler got some sort of way and she wanted to do something. And Melissa Smith came over and was like, hold up, chill. Let's be easy. Be easy. Because if you deal with her, you got to deal with me. Like, and Alyssa Smith is a big girl. You don't want them problems. But it's the dynamic. So you can look at it either way. Like, one, you don't want people fighting on the court anyway. You're in the middle of a game. Like, hold your head. Like, unless you're getting hit or something, it should come to that. But it's a dynamic that's been in the league ever since the beginning. I mean, I don't think it's a big thing. People are making it a big thing because they're just now seeing it. Like, Alyssa Smith and Dejanay Carrington have been together since Baylor. Like, I've been fans of them since Baylor. Yep. They've been together since Baylor. This isn't new. And them they played against each other before. They aren't rookies. Yep. So, like, this isn't the first interaction, but because it's the Fever and everybody's watching the Fever now, it's like, oh, look at these two. They're dating. Oh, wow. Like, stop it. Stop it.
Oh, wow.
Stop it. Yeah. Like, stop it. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's par for the course. It happens. I think it's, as long as nothing like crazy goes on, it's okay. And even in that situation, it was overblown. Like, I looked at it as Melissa Smith going to her teammate really and being like, yo, chill. This is still a tight game. Like, we got to win this thing. And you arguing over a block shot. Like, she talking trash, you talking trash. That's basketball.
Yep. Miss Debbie, you put WM. You need to put WNBA.
Wrong letter.
Yeah, I'm looking like, how come it didn't register hers? But that's why. So hashtag WNBA to get into the giveaway. I'm about to draw.
Remember Courtney Vandersloot and Allie Quigley played on the Sky for years together. And they're happily married. I mean, Quigley retired. She isn't playing anymore. But, like, that dynamic was there. And it was nothing. Like, they were just a happily married couple playing ball together. No one said a peep about that.
Yep. Real quick before, as I wait for Miss Debbie to change her entry, I wanted to talk about this real quick because I'm a huge Paige fan. Like, I
Mhm.
wish there was some way I could be able to get her onto the Aces, but I highly
Ah,
doubt that's gonna happen.
Ace is
Um,
picking last.
but Melly says, I'm just hoping the Mystics get Paige Beckers at this point. So, as of right now, the Mystics are in last place. So this is definitely, as long as y'all don't get out there, we got you guys winning games now. So you should have told
Yeah.
us that before we started talking about them, and we wouldn't have put the good juju on them.
Yeah.
But that, like, I don't know how it's gonna work, because now you're gonna have the Valkyries
Yeah, exactly.
will be put
I'm
into
thinking
the
the same
mix.
thing. Yeah.
So
How,
I don't know if they get that, if they're gonna
like, are
get
they
that
gonna?
number one pick,
Yeah,
or
exactly. As an expansion team, automatically
yeah,
award them number one pick. Are they gonna have an expansion draft where they get to pick some players from other
yeah, they
teams,
will for
or
sure.
and or even just, I'm sure they'll be able to sign free agents, of course. And there's plenty of women out there who deserve to be on a team. I mean, we talked about Deasia Fair, so
Mhm.
many times, and there's others, tons of others out there who are deserving to be on a team.
Jessica Carter.
Jessica Carter for one, Kaiser Gardasek just got waived from the Chicago Sky. Like, there's tons of players, but I'd be interested just to see in the draft itself, like, what draft position they will
Mhm.
be given as an expansion team. Like, is WNBA going to say, okay, you get the first overall pick, or
Right.
do they just kind of enter the lottery the same as everyone else, and then wherever they fall into the lottery, that's where they draft? So
Mhm.
I'm waiting a word on that every day, and I know it's not going to come until
Mhm.
probably next year when
Yeah.
the draft is approaching, but I can't wait to hear it and see what happens.
Yeah. For your sake, Melly, I hope that you guys are able to get Paige, because I mean, that, for anybody's sake, whoever team she goes to is going to be awesome. But
Yeah.
like, here's how it could work. Now, if the WNBA, if we see them come out, because there's been times in the past, so for the expansion draft, there's been one year where they let the teams put like a block on 5 players. So you were allowed to
Yes.
keep 5 players, and
Mm-hmm.
anybody else, they're up for grabs in the expansion
Right.
draft. Now, there's been another season where the teams were allowed to hold 6 players, lock down 6
Mm-hmm.
players, and the rest were up for grabs. So we don't know how they're going to end up doing it. They
Yeah.
could, however they feel at the last moment, freaking change it. Now, here's what I'm worried about, though. Now, in your case, Melly, because you guys could be set up perfect to get Paige, but
Mm-hmm.
does the WNBA come and say, how much sense and how great is this for marketing, to, if we allow excuse me, if we allow the Valkyries to take that number one pick and get
Yep.
Paige, now Paige will be the face of the Valkyries, the brand
Yep.
new expansion WNBA team.
Yep.
What better way than to have the best girl that's been, even before Caitlin Clark, the number one girl in college prior to her getting injured?
Yep.
What better way to start off a new franchise than to have Paige Beckers as the face of your franchise?
Exactly.
So that's where the WNBA, like, how are they going to play this out? Because I could definitely see them using that to their advantage. And,
Yeah. It's a big market. I know they're very excited for the Valkyrie in Golden State.
mm-hmm.
We saw the turnout when they had their little celebration. We know people like Steph Curry are back in the team. We saw our very own George Kittle
Yep.
already talking about the Valkyrie and backing them, and saluting the WNBA out there in Golden State. So, well, I should say California, but it's the Golden State Valkyries. So there's excitement there. They got celebrities, and it's like you said, what a way to cash in on it. than just say, we're going to award them the number one pick, and you pick up a Paige Beckers, and it just takes off from there. Hey, look at that. Misspelled and all.
Miss Debbie.
Congrats.
Congrats. Congrats. I don't know where my little bags are to put the name. Let me just put it on here real quick. Congrats, Miss Debbie. I need to make a congratulations thing for the WNBA.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be playing the 49ers video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
any last thoughts, anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
The next game is against that Indiana Fever team.
It is tomorrow.
So it's going to be fun to watch. I'm interested. I'm very interested in the defensive matchups to see how it plays out this time with Chelsea being on the court. I mean, Chelsea being on the court. Why am I messing up everybody's name? Not Kelsey Mitchell, Chelsea Gray, and who she's going to be matched up with, and on the opposite end, who Caitlin Clark is going to be matched up with. Are they going to? Because in the first game they put her up against the Jackie and Kelsey Plum, and Jackie and Kelsey Plum just went at her. They just attacked her all game. They were like, "Oh, you can't guard me, and I know you can't guard me, so we just going at you." So are they going to put her down on Chelsea Gray, who's bigger and stronger than her, and they could just back her down? And we just saw Chelsea go off against the Mystics. So that's going to be interesting to see how they play that. Yeah. I mean, and the Fever are just riding high from their win over the Mercury. So it's going to be fun to see how they come in on this game. Can they steal another one? And the battle between the South Carolina girls, Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston. Oh, it was fun the first game. I know this one is going to be fun. I'm going to be on Twitter looking for Dawn Staley's tweets because she's hilarious when she sees her girls go at it. Yeah. And it's funny how she always roots against Asia Wilson when she goes up against anybody else. But we all know Asia's her favorite. So it's going to be a fun night.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you, John B.
And shout out to Dawn Staley. Thank her for bringing, giving us so much talent in the WNBA. Like so much of her offspring, I guess you call it, is scattered throughout the WNBA. And man, like so grateful for her and the amazing coach that she is.
And Dawn was one of my favorite players growing up too. Like she was one of my favorite players. So like my mom was a guard. So I have an affinity for guards. Like I play guard. So I have affinity for guards. And she was one of my favorites growing up. She just had that dog in her and that fight in her. And she could ball. Yep. So shout out to Dawn.
She still has that dog in her. She always fighting with everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As a coach, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, chat. You guys have been amazing as always. I hope you guys have a great week. Me and Ty will be back here, same time, same place next week.
That's right.
All again. And yeah, guard bloodline.
That's right. It's in the blood.
We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We appreciate you guys for keeping the comments going, the questions. I love seeing, even my 49ers peeps popping in and having interest in the W. Like, I appreciate it so much. You too, Bebop. Stay blessed. Everybody stay well. John V says, great collaboration. I always enjoy you both. Appreciate you, John
Thank
V.
You, sir. Yeah.
And remember, blessings to you, Miss Debbie. Much love as always. Remember, if you have little girls at home, turn on the WNBA. Let them watch the games. It's very important. Leave you with this quote. as always, if you can see her, you can be her. So get them ladies on the TV. Let the little girls know that this is a possibility. Let them dream as big as they can possibly dream. It's possible for women to play sports, for them to grow up and play sports. So let them have the same dreams that the little boys get to have growing up. Put it on the TV. Let them see it. Let them, they can see these amazing, there's so much amazing women out here playing sports. Let them turn on these great role models and learn the game of basketball. It's never too early. So yeah, put the support, get those women on the TV, show the support to them. They're great athletes. They deserve it. They're doing amazing things, not just obviously the Las Vegas Aces, but the entire WNBA, even you, Liberty, even you. And yeah, much love. Appreciate you all. Like I said, we'll be back next Monday. Everybody have a safe and wonderful week. We're out of here. Let's go, Aces.